Kingdom Ox citizens, we are back in this place. Today, we have somebody in here. I have an intro for her, so let's get it going. Today's guest is a powerhouse voice in Christian hip hop and urban inspirational. She is a Billboard charting artist, a sought after speaker, a radio host who's been blazing trails both behind the mic and on stage. From her bold, trap infused anthems to her heart for ministry, she brings authenticity, energy, and purpose into everything she does. You've heard her on Praise 100.9, seen her light up major stages, and streamed her hits like Crazy Faith and All God. Please welcome the multi-talented, faith-filled, and fearless Brea Miles. Brea Miles is in the building.
Oh my gosh, what an intro. What's up, my brother? What up, Jay? What up, good people? What up, God? I'm just humble. You know what I mean? I'm humble, you know, in the words of my homie, I just work here. You know what I mean? So I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me. God is good.
Yes, Brea, you've been doing, it's some people in this space that I call young OGs, and I feel like you're one of them. Is that good to say?
I'll take that. That's respectable. Thank you. Like I said, God is good, you know?
Okay. All right, so Brea, let's talk. Let's get everybody your story. How did this all start? Let's talk about early Brea. Let's get it. Let's get into it.
Oh my gosh. It actually started. Well, actually, I've been rapping since I was 5. Let me start right there. I used to go around my neighborhood. Shout out to my city. I used to literally go around my neighborhood in Pittsburgh and rap. And what would happen is they would see like this kid coming around, and I have like this little wagon and this whole type of thing. And I had like a cleaning service that I did. And I went into like the crawl spaces and all of this because I was small, so I could get in there. I went into all of the places that most people didn't want to go. And I figured that would be an entryway for me to be able to get to them so that I could rap to them. And I had that cleaning service, and I would charge like $10 to rake the, the side yard, the places by the duplexes, the apartments, that whole thing. I would do that whole cross and all that type of stuff. I would get in them areas that people didn't want to go, take out the trash can, wash the tires real early in the morning. And at the end of it, when they would pay me, I'd be like, hey, yo, you want to hear me rap? And some people were like, yeah, girl, yeah. And so I would rap, I would freestyle or whatever. And then I'd be like, that'd be an extra $2. And and so like, that's really how it started for me.
So even before that, was you rapping as like a teenager in high school?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like it was going crazy even then, and I remember telling my mom, I was like, Mom, like we're getting these opportunities, and people are emailing and people are calling. It's like, hey, can Brea come here, Brea go there? But I'm like in school and I can't do anything. I literally had to. Here's what's funny. I literally had to convince my mom, because she's such a businesswoman. I had to convince my mom to say, hey, Mom, can I go to school online? Can I go to school online? Because here's the opportunities that we're missing. So I had to do like this whole presentation for her. Long story short, she said she hit me with I'll get back to you in 2 to 3 business days. And I was like, what is that? You know what I mean? And so it worked out, and we've been able to work and travel and do ministry. So it's been a blessing.
Got you. So did you say Pittsburgh? Did it sound like you said Pittsburgh?
Yes, black and yellow.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is your hometown?
It's my hometown. They're in Richmond, Virginia. I grew up between the two of those. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Okay. What was like growing up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Richmond, Virginia?
Oh, it was lit because my family literally runs the city. I'm not gonna hold you.
Oh wow. Richmond, Virginia, or Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh. My family literally runs the city, so I was like a low-key hood celebrity. I could go anywhere, and they'd be like, oh, that's such and such's granddaughter. Oh, that's such and such. That's Donna's daughter. Give it to her for free type of situation. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up, with my family, very close, very tight-knit, and it's like a mini New York type of situation. So you get all kind of pizza, and so it's really dope. And Virginia is country. You feel me? So like I kind of got the of both, growing up in Richmond, being in Richmond, having fun. My family, some of my family is there. A large portion of them actually are there. So, just going back and forth between the two really formed my, identity and my musical sound and all of that type of stuff. So yeah, it was dope in both.
Wow. So growing up in Pittsburgh was like, have you ever been to like open mics with anybody famous like Wiz or anything of that nature, like stuff like that?
I know Wiz is from Hazelwood, and I got family out that way, and here's the crazy thing. My family, I'll just say this, it's just crazy how stuff is all tied together. My family is a nice size reason why there's so many people that wear Pittsburgh Steelers apparel and hats in California. So our influence, I'll just leave it there. Our influence, if you know, is pretty great. It's pretty steep on the hip hop side. So just seeing how my family, and I'll be honest, like a lot of people from Death Row Records would come and kick it with my family members.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. So wait. So you just said your family was known for wearing Pittsburgh Steelers stuff out west. Is that what you just said?
So the influence of my family, our city, because you know, and this was a little bit before me. A lot of people from Death Row would come out and kick it in my city with my family. And so we have had great influence, I'll say, on the musical side of things. And so like the reason, like I'm saying, you see so many people that wear Pittsburgh stuff out west is, I'm not going to take full credit, but my family definitely had a large hand in that. You know what I mean? And so, just hearing those stories, it's always dope. My mom and I were talking about it the other day. And she was one of the ones that they, would come and my mom, like, it was just crazy to think about how they would come through like that, our city, and kick it with the family and so on and so forth. But yeah, so I got some ties. I got some ties.
So we could possibly see Brea Miles on Death Row Gospel.
Look, if it happens, it happens. That would be dope. I know he's working on something like that. That would be dope.
No, he did. He released the album. Snoop released an album called Death Row Gospel with a Death Row Gospel choir.
That is crazy. Like Snoop, you know what I mean? that would be crazy. I'll bless the mic and give them the gospel. You already know. So yeah.
Got you. Okay, so as a teenager, what was your life like? Was you just always on go? Like, was you always like performing, or like what was that life like for you as a teenager growing up between Pittsburgh and Virginia? And how was that dynamic for you? Because you're growing up up north and then coming to like a city that's kind of southern, but it's not really southern. You know what I'm saying? I've heard a lot about Richmond. So how was those experience?
It was dope for me. You know what I mean? Because, my family is huge. Like there's huge pockets of my family, literally from New York, Pittsburgh, Virginia, Atlanta. You guys are going to see and that's just a small portion of my family that's in Atlanta, that's in the video. My family is huge. So I got probably at least 200 or so people that's in my family that just live in Atlanta. You feel what I'm saying? And so like my family is huge. So for me growing up, very heavy on the family, very heavy on that connection. Like, I be trying, I can't really say too much, but my family is a tremendous part of my identity. Like I said, a part of who I am, you know what I mean? And we're very, not arrogant, but we're very proud, and who we are, where we come from and what we've been able to accomplish. Like I've had family members who are signed to Motown Records. I got family, my great grandfather played for Ella Fitzgerald and
wow.
B. King. And so like, we're very musical. I got a lot of people in my family who are doing well for themselves, who are professional athletes playing NBA, playing football. And so like, it's just like we be working, Wow. And so for me growing up between the two, it was fun. And we just very, go get it type of mentality. And, for me, like I just learned a lot. I was the kid that, you have to graduate by first you be in the backseat. And if you're fortunate enough, you get to come up to the front. So I got to grow up around a lot of like G's, a lot of business people, and just see, both sides of the tracks, you know, the good, the bad, you know, the people who are legit, the people who aren't legit. And I got to learn from both. And then the Lord saved me. So like, I've always been on go, you know, I got saved, and the Lord was like, yeah, you're going to use this gift. You're going to be like the first person in your family to use the gift of music, to proclaim me, to proclaim my name, and build the church and build what I called you to build. So for me, I just always been about kingdom business. I always been about family. I always been about building the people of God in the church. I just believe in that. So yeah.
Got you. So so this is a question. What was Brea like pre-Christ? What was Brea like pre-Christ? And then what made you say, Jesus, take it all, I surrender to you? What was those two dynamics for you in your life?
That's a great question. You either love me. I mean, I feel like it's like it is now. It just was me without any filter. Like being in the industry, like I've learned how to just watch. You feel what I'm saying? Like I always have, and that's something that I learned, you know, growing up with my family. I remember my aunt, you know, she came and took me around the city one time in Pittsburgh, and she was like, don't go here, don't go there, watch out for this kind of people. This person is slick. So like my family always put me up on game and showed me who to watch out for. So coming into the industry, like I always just had more of an insight. So pre-Christ, you know, it just was exactly like it is now. It just was, I had no filter. I really did not care if somebody came at me sideways. You already know what it was. And it was very, very limited, the people who felt the need to assert themselves in that way because of who my family was or who my family is. So like a lot of people just really, you know, they didn't mess with me like that. They didn't really try me like that because they understood, like, leave her alone type of situation. And she could hold her own, you know what I mean? And so, you know, pre-Christ, like I said, I love my family. You know, we were friends. You know, you became a part of the family type of situation. And, you know, I just was all about family, all about building, all about getting to it. You know, I rapped before I knew the Lord. So it was mainstream. Just, you know, and it was for a short stint. It's because the Lord saved me. You know, he was like, oh, no, she figuring out that she can actually do music. Let me pull her in and get her saved. And so I hope I answered that question, but I was, you know, I had fun. I was a regular kid. You know, we did crazy stuff, popping out on the highway and, you know, parking the car on the highway for seconds at a time and rapping real quick to see who could rap the fastest before a car pulled up. It was a lot of cars, you know. We were just crazy. We had fun. You know what I mean? You know, we were like untouchable in our minds, you know, type of thing. So yeah, but I had a good time.
Yeah. And what was that moment when you said, okay, I'm gonna surrender to the Lord? When did he grab your heart? Was it an incident that made that happen, or was it stuff coincided that happened that made you go, okay, I need to change for the Lord? And it sounded like you were younger when you did that. So what was that like? Like even being a young Christian amongst your friends, you know?
Yeah, you know what ended up happening was, like, for me, I got invited to church. And I think like most of us, like we always hear about Jesus, we hear about God, whether it's from family or whomever. And I definitely, you know, knew who God was. I just was not thinking about God, even though he was after me, you know. I just was like, no, I'm good. Y'all got that. Like, y'all could do that type of situation. Okay. I wasn't like really disrespectful about it. It just wasn't for me. Although my mom was a believer, I just wasn't like, I was like, no, I'm good, you know, type of situation. But I respected what she believed, and I wasn't rude or anything about it. But what happened for me is somebody invited me to church, and the pastor got up and shared his testimony. He was a black guy, super cut. And I had never seen like such a strong, straight, and I'm just being honest, a strong, straight man of God like that. And I just was like, wow, like what is that? Like his pants are baggy, you know what I'm saying? Like he you know, he was just a man. And I seen that, and he was married, and he had his kids in church, and he shared his affiliation with, you know, being in the gang and how that was for him. And it just ministered to me. It got to me. And, you know, God moved on my heart, you know what I mean? Because I had already been through so much up until that point. And God was like, now is the moment. Now is the time. And so for me, it just was such an influence because, you know, like I said, I was the same person, you know, as I was before Christ, after Christ, meaning that I just always was bold. I wasn't afraid to share my faith, just like I wasn't afraid to tell somebody to hop out the way, like if I felt they got too close to me type of situation. So what ended up happening was, I'm not going to hold you, it sparked a revival. My relationship with God really sparked a revival in the church that I had been blessed to be a part of, seeing a massive influx of people, because from that, you know, football teams were getting saved, basketball teams were getting saved, communities, like it was going crazy. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. And it was because, you know, me and, you know, some of the kids who were at the church, you know, had an argument on if Christians should listen to secular music.
Oh, wow.
And I was telling them, I was like, look, I don't know everything. I'm freshly saved, but all I know is we're trying to live right now. And the music that you're playing is making everybody in here struggle. If you feel what I'm saying. Like, you're literally making all of us have a difficult time. And so I said, look, it went from that to, I'm like, just pull over. Like, we downtown. I'm like, just pull over. And they was like, pull over. I'm like, yeah, just pull over. And I hopped out the car, and there was this lady that was on the street. And I asked her that question. I'm like, hey, yo, do you think that Christians should listen to secular music? And I started telling her about that. I started telling her about the faith. And she was like, I don't know. I don't think that they should listen to that. But I'm really concerned about what you're talking about, because if I died right now, and I asked her, I said, if you died, like, where would you go? You feel like you would go to heaven, or you feel like you would go to hell? She said, I heard what you was talking about, and I heard about this love of Jesus, and I heard about that hell that you was talking about. And you like, I don't want to go to hell, and I want to know who Jesus is. Will you lead me to Jesus?
Wow.
Definitely. So in that moment, I led her to the Lord. And then all of the rest of us literally looked at each other. I'm not going, we looked at each other, and then looked at the downtown, and we took off running. And literally about 50 people just downtown got saved, like in a matter of like maybe an hour. And that's how it sparked the whole revival to football teams, basketball teams, church. Like, it was going crazy type of situation, you know. And so for me, you know, it's not about fear. I just believe what I believe. And when I believed in God, and when he chose me, I chose him. And it wasn't a thing of like, oh, I'm nervous to share his name. Oh, like, because you got to understand, like, you know, when you grow up a certain way and you really be about that life, and you've seen certain things, and you just don't have no fear. And it just translates to your relationship with God. Like, that's why me and the Gospel Gangsters hit it off when we did that song, because we get it. You feel what I'm saying? And we went over together. Like, we from a similar background, a similar situation. And so, you know, I hope I answered the question a bit, but it's just about fearlessness and about understanding.
Wow.
The Bible says that the righteous are as bold as a lion. And so holding that up and not being afraid of it. And like, who cares if somebody rejects you because you said Jesus? Oh, well, at least they got an opportunity. They can't say they didn't hear. They can't say that, you know, when they meet the Lord face to face. So that's what it's about for me.
Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. Was that overwhelming? Was that overwhelming for you though? Like, I mean, to be like part of situations where like you are helping people get saved, that's on major platforms like that. Like, and when I mean major platforms, athletic platforms, was that overwhelming for you, or was you like, God was just like, I'm a vessel, Lord, just use me? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it was a vessel. Just use me, because, you know, God kept putting me in situations, you know, like even one time I had a flight around that same time. I had a flight, and my cousin from Virginia, he grew up and he's a really great friend. They're, you know, really great friends with Trey Songz. And I remember him hitting me. He was like, hey, yo, cuz, just pray for Trey. Pray for Trey. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to pray for Trey. Next day, I had a flight back home, back to Pittsburgh, and God orchestrated it. And we're on the same flight, me and Trey.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just like, and God said, go share the gospel with him. So I said, all right. So I walk up to Trey, and we're literally, you know, I don't know what you call it, the little walkway on the plane. You know, he's a couple seats ahead of me, like maybe 2 seats ahead of me. And I literally shared the gospel with Trey. You know what I mean? He probably was thinking I was trying to talk to him, because he was looking at me. He was like, okay. And I was like, no, it's not even like that. So I did that. And he was just like, you know what? Thank you so much for taking your time to share that with me. I appreciate that. Respect to you, Ma. I appreciate that. And so I just ain't never been afraid to share the gospel. It don't matter who it is. It could be somebody that nobody knows. I've shared it with homeless people. I shared it with, you know, people who are street pharmacists. I've shared it with people who are business people. Because I don't care. Like I don't have a hesitation button when it comes to the Lord, because I understand that we are all going to face him one day. We're going to face him one day, and we're going to have to give an account. And so I'm going to do my best by the authority of Jesus Christ and his spirit to share the gospel with people. So like I said, no hesitation button. I'm on go, because the time he's getting closer to coming back. So I want people to know.
So, okay. So what was that conversation like with Trey? Like, was it just him sitting there listening, or was it there y'all having a conversation back and forth?
Well, we were standing there in first class, in the first class section. And, God is good. God is good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the stunt like that. Yeah, the stunt.
For the glory of God. You know what I'm saying? We were in the first class. Like, it's like only like 4 rows. And so it's just like 1, 2, 3. And, he was in that very first section. And I remember somebody helped me put my bag up, and I just went up there, right over to him. And I felt the prompting of the Spirit of the Lord to do it. And I shared it with him. You know what I mean? And like I said, he just was like, thank you. Like, he probably told me like, thank you 3 or 4 times, because I'm sure like when, you're in the industry on the mainstream side, you don't really get people who show that amount of care, let alone talk to you about God. Like, God, that's not even a conversation. God, like where they do, and it brings people back, because you got to remember, most of us from the Black culture have already been exposed to church. We've already been exposed to the Lord. So it's just like a reminder, like, nah, I'm still after you. I still want you. I still care about you. That's God speaking. You know what I mean? And so it was dope. Like, it was real cool. It lasted for like a minute or 2. And that was it. It wasn't no long drawn out, shouting and screaming. It just was like a straightforward, I said what God wanted me to say type of thing. And it was just crazy to me that my cousin had literally told me the day before when I was home. And then how do only God can orchestrate us being on the same flight the next day? You know what I mean? And I don't even know if he went home. I don't even know if he was home to see I don't know. But we was on the same flight, and I obeyed the command of the Lord, and that was it.
Wow. So did you ever name drop your cousin? Like, yo, my cousin such and such? Like, did you say that, or did you just not?
From my understanding, I'm trying to remember the fullness of the conversation, because I was just so focused on the Lord part. I don't think I named my cousin.
Okay.
I ain't gonna put his name out there, but I did put out the name that everybody knows him as. I did.
Got you.
Oh, you're okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I did. I didn't say his name, but I did. What we know him as. I did say his.
Got you.
His neighborhood name.
Got you. I mean, because I think at the end of the day, you need something to the icebreaker. Yeah. And I think sometimes when people witness to people, I don't think they understand that. Like, God, how can I just come up to them and not be like so aggressive with the gospel? Because the gospel is aggressive enough. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to be as aggressive with the gospel, but you want to be like, God, how can you give me an entryway with this person? You know what I'm saying? Like,
a nice layup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like an alley. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it was. And I looked at that, even like talking about it again now. Like I said, like I couldn't have, my cousin telling me that, pray for him, and then being on the same plane, same flight, the very next day is crazy. You know what I mean? And I remember saying, I do remember that. I did. So, you got to look for those moments, and you got to be open to what the Spirit of the Lord is saying. So, yeah.
Got you. So, all right. So now you're putting your city on fire for God. You are doing amazing things. You're witnessing to R&B stars and all that. When was it time for you to start doing music and like putting out like national recordings and stuff like that? Like, where were you? What was your idea about that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I know at times, sometimes when God give us those things, and sometimes people see those things and they go, man, okay, so I'm telling people not to listen to secular music. What type of music should I give them to listen to instead? So was that one of your things in your heart, like, God, you giving me this mantle to tell people not to listen to secular music, so I need to create something so people can listen to something, you know what I mean? Or did you recommend other people, other Christian rappers to other people, or Christian R&B type stuff?
I think for me, because I got saved and started doing music relatively quickly, because I was already mainstream. So then when I became a believer, I was like, oh, it's only right. I didn't really know Christian hip hop was a thing.
Gotcha.
But when I did get put on to other Christian hip hop artists, was like, yo, check this person out, check this, you know what I mean, type of situation. You know, again, it was a little challenging because, you know, the majority of my people were not believers. You feel what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And so they were like, yeah, I don't know about that, but I listen to your music. You know what I mean? Type of situation. But I did do my best to try to expose them to, you know, other artists, because I thought it would be dope. Like, you know, like, hey man, you know me. You feel me?
Yeah.
So like, let's maybe hear somebody, you know, who you could connect with. But then, you know, they just was like, nah, because it's a difficult thing. Like, you know, when you're from a certain area, like, it's like everybody want to like, yo, who is this? Is this for real? And then especially like when you're throwing God in there, because so many people get messed over, unfortunately, by people in the church. So many people are skeptical about like, can I even believe what this person is saying? Or are they just saying this because they want me to give them something? They just want me to go and download their thing on iTunes. So, you know, excuse me. Sorry about that. That's my alarm to pray. That's my alarm to pray. I have probably 3 or 4 of them that I have throughout the day. So let me just make sure I turn that off. We in there. I turned them off. My next 2, I turned them off. Sorry about that. But no, like, they listened to my music, and then, you know, God was like, yo, make this type of song, make this type of song. And then it just kept going and it kept growing. And, you know, he's truly blessed the works of my hands. Like, it's been a challenge at certain points. It hasn't all been easy, but he's definitely blessed the works of my hand. And it's tremendous to see the different people that come to salvation off of a tool like Christian hip hop. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I've gotten to lead Jewish people to the Lord, and
wow,
it's crazy. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I'm about that action. I'm about that work.
Got you. Okay, so what was it like recording with MC Jen? He's on all these people, like, in your beginning stages. Like, what was that like? Because I mean, your first project is in the early 2010s, and I'm like, that's like, for some people, the golden age of Christian hip hop. That, you know, where people this is the Lecrae time, when Lecrae is popping and people are looking at this space. Like, what was your thoughts about working with certain people on your project? And you always represent the ladies. You always got the ladies on there with you. But what was your process around your Stay True project?
Oh my gosh. I'll tell you the story on that Stay True. So we were in New York recording that album, that whole song, that whole everything. We recorded that in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And Ray Rock, shout out to my bro. He was a heavy instrumental person in it. Like, you know, I was fresh to it. And so he was just like, yo, do this, do this, do this. And I'll never forget, he was like, look, all of them were like, look, this is New York. Okay. And I followed their direction. Okay. Because I wasn't fully producing at the time. They're like, this is New York. Trust us on this direction for this project. So I said, okay. He said, don't listen to He said, I know you from the South and I know y'all like that trap or whatever. He was like, don't listen to none of that. You in New York now. You can only listen to New York artists. So they literally had me listening to all like classic hip hop. Only people from New York though. And they know I love Whitney Houston, so I had to listen to like LL Cool J, Wu-Tang. Like they had me going through like people who really did it, and I respect it. And so like that's why I have such a love for like that classic, you know, era. It's because of Ray and because of, you know, everybody that was a part of it. And I do remember. And I said, look, y'all know I love Whitney Houston. Y'all know I love that. Can I listen to her at least? And he was like, no, she's from Jersey. I was like, dang. Like,
dang.
I'm like, Jersey is like 5 minutes away. And so like, but that whole process of even how, I'll never forget, Jen came into the studio. I had laid my verses for that song and Jen just popped in. You know what I mean? And he was like, yo, who is this? This is you? You need like that's you in there? He said, I never done nothing like this before, but can I get on this song? Can I get on this song? And all of us was in there was like, yeah. And he a man of his word. About like a week later, he sent it in, and for that Stay True song, he popped through and he did his thing. And I just was like, wow, I was so honored because they were like, yo, do you know who that is? Do you know who that is? That's Jimmy. I was like, I thought his name was Jen. He's like, no, that's Jimmy. I was like, maybe that's his nickname. That's Jimmy from Fast and Furious. And I was like, oh my God, it is Jimmy. You know what I mean? And so it was just such an honor, such a blessing. You know what I mean? So yeah, it just, you know, then everybody came through and, you know, blessed the song. You know, his son hopped on it. Angie hopped on it. Mo hopped on it, and you know, we just came together. Now it's our first time all working together, and you know, did this whole sisterhood type of situation, and really helped get that movement going. You know, about females coming together in hip hop, and not always trying to be mean to each other and all that stupid stuff. But it was dope. It was really dope. You know.
Yeah. So what was that era for you like? I mean, that era is, you know, you're seeing the rising of Angie Rose. You're seeing stereotypes come out with Heesan Lee. You're starting to see, you know, other female rappers in our space. You're starting to see other people getting those opportunities, shining with, you know, some of the male counterparts. What was your take at that time with that? Like, was you more of like, hey, I'm here too, or was you like, you know, I'm here with my girls. I'm gonna try to rock with them, and we gonna do this together. You know what I'm saying? Kind of vibe. Or was you like, you know, I'm getting my feet wet and I'm out here. You know what I mean?
It was probably like a mixture of both, because I didn't even really understand. I didn't even know that, you know, Heesan was like Heesan. You know what I'm saying? And even like that whole how that thing like got set up. I can't even take full credit for it. You know what I mean? I just had an idea. I'm like, yo, it would be kind of dope to have females come together. The guys are always together, like, you know, and then, you know, Ray was like, I love that. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that he orchestrated, to be quite honest, after like he ran with my concept, and, you know, they were all talking and they're like, hey, let's get this person, and this person, and everybody come together. And then I do remember I was, you know, a part of the whole arranging it as it pertained to like the arrangement of the verses. And I did a little bit of production on that one. But you know, I did, you know, but you know, I just thought it was a dope idea, you know, and it's kind of dope, you know, when you look at it, you know, now and just see like the growth of everyone, and you know, it's a dope type of thing. And I feel like that's a song that has, like I said, it's helped so many females to understand, like, look, it really isn't a competition between us. It's probably like is, you know, a handful of us compared to the sea full of guys. And if we could ever just really have be secure in who we are and not look at our sister as somebody like, oh, I got to get in her way because she's good. Like, it's stupid. It's stupid. And you know what I mean? And it's like, we have to be smarter than that. We have to recognize that, you know, we're all important. We're all valuable. God has made us all in his image. And, you know, we got to come together and stop that dumb stuff. You feel me?
I love it. What? So did you look at like the Mahogany Jones of the world and everybody? Did you see them as like my OGs? Was they like that? Were they giving you guidance at that time, or was it just like you trying to figure it out? No.
Like, even like when we shot, I can't say about Mo. I'll never forget, we shot a video to it, and I'll never forget because her plane had got delayed, and we only had a short amount of time. And the people who shot that video, I'm trying to remember the artist, Dave East. His team actually is the one who shot that video.
RTQ.
RTQ. They shot the video. His team shot that video. And they're like, yo, they're very professional. We got to stay on it. We got to do this, that, and the third. And I remember, you know, Mahogany and stuff like that, texting, and she's texting my mom and say, hey, my flight got delayed, but don't worry about it. I hopped on this taxi. And like, she's getting all in, and this, she's like, I did all this stuff because she's from New York. And in that video, like, you can literally see how she popped in. That's because she literally popped in off the street, off of whatever car I don't know if it was Uber or whatever, but she literally popped in, off out of that car, hopped out of that car, and just went right into shooting the video. Words and just popped in. And so like it's just a love thing for me, you know what I mean? And to understand like the what people have contributed to move the culture forward is very important to me. You know what I'm saying? And again, it pertains to my background because I'm used to being around people who have really laid the foundation, whether it's in business, legitimate or non-legitimate, and just the respect that they get, the respect that they receive. Like it's a respectable thing versus I don't understand, you know, I don't want to say like just on the Christian side of thing, but I think it might be a cultural thing. And in the Black community where they're like, oh, like you can't rap no more because I'm like, because of what? Because you said so? Who are you? Type of situation. And I look at those things. And so for me, it's just always been a love aspect where I see, you know, the Caucasian artists, where I see like Aerosmith and the Beatles, and I'm a producer, so I know so many artists, and I love the timing of history and how they've created. And I see like the Rolling Stones and people like that, they're still killing the game. And I see the way that in hip hop they try to erase our people who have really made it possible for artists like myself. You know, who made it possible for it. I see that. And it's very clear to me because it's almost like they're trying to erase Black history. And it's like, if you don't see that, you gotta open your eyes, because it's like, how come every other genre, every other from country to whatever, they celebrate a Reba, they celebrate a whomever, they celebrate people who have set the foundation. You know what I mean? They celebrate their artists and they keep them going strong. But in Black culture, we try to put a limit on our people who really, and I think it's because of the knowledge factor. And that's why I have so much respect for people like an LL Cool J, because I don't watch a lot of TV, but I'll listen to interviews of people who really made this possible. And he'll talk about, he's like, I don't understand why we keep trying to push out artists who have set the foundation and who are doing extremely well. And he says, oh, it's probably because they think we're going to give the up and coming artists a different mindset, and we're going to band together and take over. But when you look at the history of hip hop, of when people have really tried to come together, you know, be it different record labels who are Black owned, they try to push them out. They always try to disband it. And it's really an element of control that people want to have. And so again, for me, not to belabor the point, I can see how they want people to not join together. And it's not a thing of me even trying to be like, oh, like this is a formula. I just know that God has given me to be able to be a bridge builder. Like he's given it to me. It's a part of my ministry. It's a part of my mantle. So when I look at these things and I see how people are treated, it's ridiculous to me. Like one of my favorite gospel artists, you know, is DJ Cadden. The dude he's crazy.
Man
is crazy. You know what I'm saying? I talked to Ken Jones the other day. The man is crazy. And I'm looking like the talent, the gifting, the anointing, but it's like we don't really honor. I don't understand why. But again, I'm not belaboring it. I see Caucasian artists. You know, I've gotten an opportunity to do major festivals, you know, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. And I look at it, I'm like, wow, like they really they see family. They see legacy when they see, you know, Skillet, or, you know, I forget the name of the Caucasian rock, you know.
You're right, Skillet. Yeah.
Skillet, and they see legacy, they see power,
Striper,
they see, and at the end of the day, I'll be honest, they see money, and they see that it's able to sustain their culture and their identity and what they want to do. But over here, I don't like, they want to throw it away, and then that's a part of the reason why we don't have generational currency and funds to be able to get stuff done. It's because we keep trying to erase the people who have opened up the doors. Who have set the foundation, who can actually help. And it's just dumb to me. And it's like you don't have you can't see, you don't have vision, you don't have a mindset of a boss when you're trying to eliminate key players. Like it's dumb. So anyway, that's my take on it.
But I understand your point, and I understand it perfectly. But I think also another thing too is when you really think about that, it's something to do with it's something to do with us as I'm way older than you. I'm sorry, but me, like really, or my age group, or like people older than me who were into hip hop in the 80s and 90s and stuff of that nature, to really kind of have that conversation about sharing music. And the reason why I'm saying that, and even in the Christian space, when it comes to Christian hip hop, is because I feel like people don't care. Like, and I'm gonna say your generation, but like maybe Gen Z or even young millennials, they may not as care about these artists like you should care, especially if you're doing this music. And I think at the same time, on the opposite, they're people of our white brothers and sisters, they share the music of a Skillet, they share the music of a Striper, and they share those music and tell people about them. And even in the mainstream, you know, like people share the music of Kiss to their kids, they share the music of the Beatles to their kids. And I don't think we do that with our kids. And maybe, I don't know, maybe because of the explicit nature of it, but there's some hip hop and early Christian hip hop that should be shared with the generation. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be, you know what I mean, that you stopping with just Cray. And Lecrae's amazing. I love that brother. But it was people prior to Lecrae that put in work that people just don't care about in this space, which is crazy to me.
And I think, like, and that's a part of the reason, again, I bring up my bros, like with the Gospel Gangsters, when the Gospel Gangsters, myself and Miles Minnick did that song, All In Me, we were trying to also display some of that unity, because it's imperative. Like, you know, Black people, and I'm gonna just keep it a buck, we have to be smarter. Like, we have to be able to see what is happening. It's not a black and a white thing as much as it is a legacy thing. Like, we're literally erasing our legacy. So for me, it's a little bit different, because I'll give one instance, like, with my family and how I grew up, like, it's generations of people and it's generations of gangsters. So the only way I can really know about a Snoop, the only way I could know about a Death Row Records, like the way I do, and them coming to my city, is because, and kicking it with my family, it is because it was shared with me. And because I understand the weight and the gravity, and I don't agree with a lot of the wording and, you know, the disrespect of women and stuff like that in the records, but I can see what they were able to accomplish and be like, wow, that's crazy. Wow, that's dope. They was in my city. But I can see that because it's one, like you said, it was passed on to me. And then it's also because I have a respect for, and I'll just keep it a buck, I have a respect for talent, right? I have a great respect for talent. And what I can see as a lot of what's happening right now is a lot of artists, and it's not being mean or not, but a lot of artists have patterned themselves after the 80s and the 90s and so on and so forth. Yeah. And I just kind of think they don't want people to know that they may have been influenced by these other artists, because it might make them look bad. And it's not a bad thing to be influenced by somebody else. It's just give credit where credit is due. You feel what I'm saying? And I don't think that that's a bad thing. So again, it's like you said, like it can't just stop with or start with one person. And that's why we did the song All In Me with the Gospel Gangsters. You know what I'm saying? Because they have done so much, like the very first Grammy nominated Christian hip hop. Like, how don't people know that? Like, how don't people know those things? And it's because we have a lack of respect for it. And if we really understood business, we would say, hey, we need to talk about these artists and we need to celebrate these artists because they lend credibility to the genre, right? They lend they lend a legacy of credibility so that we can get through these doors, because it's already been proven. But if we keep trying to recreate the wheel and restart stuff, people are like, can't even take you serious because you've only been here for 15 minutes. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of us have come up against, is because we don't want to talk about like, oh, this person did this, that, and the third. There were other female artists here before Brea. There were other female or male artists here before Miles. There were other male groups and stuff here before. There were others. You feel me? And we got to talk about that and respect that. We got to respect that. You feel what I'm saying? Because we've contributed in a great way.
Yeah, and I think the legacy of Christian hip hop has to be restored. And I'm glad you said what you said, and I'm glad you working with people like Gospel Gangsters. Shout out to RIP to Mr. Solo, and then shout out to Chili Baby and everything they've done in TikTok, and everybody's that done everything with Gospel Gangsters. And I feel like I think because honestly, the success of all our forefathers in this wasn't as huge as what they see with Cray, honestly. Just being totally honest. And I think unfortunately, like even in mainstream hip hop, right? I'm gonna say a name that I don't know if you know or not, right? So somebody like a Grandmaster Cass, right? Who was a rapper's rapper in like the 70s, early 80s, where people were like, you know, that dude is a lyrical genius, he's this, he's that, but he never really put stuff out on wax. He never really put stuff out that people can hear what him and his team was doing. So when he come into rooms, unless people know who he is, they may just be like, I don't know who that is. You know what I'm saying? And not caring to know who that is. You know what I mean? But I feel like for us, we have to care who put the foundation. And I think Darius West, he did a great job with that documentary about Christian hip hop early years. And I think more and more people need to see that, because I think so many people think certain people just start and end with that person, and it's like that's not it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's, and again, it's exactly what you're saying. I think a part of it is also the social media and it being intentional. When I see artists like Chris Brown the other day, he just showed love. And this is something that I regularly do, right? He just randomly decided to show love and tag T-Pain, right? And he just gave him flowers. He showed him love publicly. That's something that a lot of people unfortunately just do not do. And so I think it's a blend of everything. And I'll share this story and I'll shut up. I was in New York. My mom and I were in New York recently, and one of our homies that runs like a whole hip hop thing out there, one of our guys, he's like, y'all want to take you guys out to dinner, you, me, and another one of our partners come out to dinner. So we're literally having dinner at this really delicious restaurant in New York. And he says, you know what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to make a call. And I said, okay. And he makes a call. He puts it on speaker. And he says, yo, Kurt, I got an artist that you need to know. Her name is Brea Miles. And I'm like, who is Kurt? It's Curtis Blow.
Wow.
He puts Curtis on the phone while I'm there. My mom is there. Royal is there. And we're all sitting at this table. And he allows for this he facilitates this incredible exchange from Curtis Blow to myself. And Curtis was like, just call me Uncle Kurt. And I think it takes people like that who understands that it's not necessarily a baton passing as much as it is as bridging it.
Yeah.
It's bridging it, because we got to understand that the African American community is the youngest people group in the nation. This legally formed, like it's young. It only been around for maybe 60 years. 50, like this is young. And so that identity issue of understanding that we are stronger together, and that we have to stop believing in dividing and conquering and breaking down, and there can only be one, and this, we got to stop being dumb. We have to stop believing that lie. Like like if you just look at our history, like our ancestors went through too much for us to still be believing the lie to keep us segregated and oppressed. Like wake up. Like wake up. Stop believing that crap. Like females got to stop believing that crap. Guys got to stop believing that crap, because it's not giving us a fair shot at building something. So it's going to take moments and people like that who see that.
Got you. Well, man, that's good. That's so good what you said, Brea. That's so good. Let's talk about Mogul Brea right now. We talked about rapper Brea. Let's talk about Mogul Brea. Let's talk about how you got into like radio and doing stuff with I Rock Jesus and different things of that nature. Talk about like how did you get into the radio game?
Well, really, once Crazy Faith was, doing, and thank you guys so much for the love and support on Crazy Faith. I really appreciate that. That song it's still going crazy and it's still doing extremely well just organically on its own. Like y'all are just streaming that song and buying that song like crazy. And it's just crazy to see, like, it's just, but that's the testament to the gospel. It just keeps going, right?
Yeah.
In Charlotte, the song was being played on a station and 2 PDs, program directors, heard it. And I guess whoever was playing it, because it was playing on mainstream. Mainstream is a big support for me, and it's crazy to me. They're like, yeah, we like this Christian music. Whatever this girl is doing, we like it. So a lot of mainstream radio was playing it, and 2 PDs heard it. And they're like, hey, we keep hearing the song, and we really like it, and we really just like your voice. Like, how would you feel about coming to host our show for us? Like, you know, once a month. And I was like, okay, sure. And then it went from like once a month to once a week to, we just want to give you your own show.
Oh, wow.
Would you consider doing that? And so, like, that's really how I got into radios, because, you know, somebody heard the song and they extended that invitation. And, you know, that's how it was for me. And then I just, you know, Rock, you know, he's such an icon and a real scratcher, like somebody who could really do it. And I just was like, yo, like, he's just dope. Like, I want him to be a part. And I hit him and he was like, let's do it. You know what I mean? And so it's Simi, the same thing. Like, that's the homie shit. That's my sister. And, you know, we came together and the radio show is still going crazy. I just got a thing. Like, it's been going crazy on the Shazams. I'm like, how in the world? Like it's going crazy. Like thousands upon thousands of Shazams of our radio. Like, who Shazams a radio show? Like it's crazy. So that's really how I got into radio. And then, you know, everyone was showing love and, you know, it got picked up in XM and all those different areas. And so, again, thank you guys for that support. It's a testament to the gospel because that's what we standing on.
Yeah, that's amazing. That story in itself is amazing. Just how, one, that your song was getting played on national radio, and like, who did you find out who was breaking that? Who was breaking Crazy Faith in those areas?
I know that there were quite a few. I can't call the names off top, but I know they were FM mainstream radio stations that, because, you know, we were getting calls about it. Like, we have people who are like in, like, you know, really enjoy doing radio and they work in it. They're like, hey, did you know this station is playing Crazy Faith here, and it's playing like in Charlotte, and it's playing in Florida, and it's like, it's literally playing everywhere. And they're like, it's not just Christian. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. And so I can't call the name of the station like off top, and I feel really bad about that. But you know, thank you to them, because they were really helping to push the movement of the gospel and what we're doing forward. So
because I think at the same time, because Crazy Faith has, of course, Heson on there and Jordan Armstrong on there. And I'm hearing that song. It got the vibes of today. It got everything it needs. So it's just crazy that you using your gift for God opened up another door for you to use another gift. That's crazy to think about it from that standpoint.
Gifts will make room. That's in the book.
Yeah. Yo, you sound like you from New York, but I know.
Look, Pittsburgh, like I said, is right around the corner from New York. And me spending so much time with New Yorkers, you know, I mean, WGD, we shot, all of our videos have been in New York. Like, I pick stuff up. I'll never forget. They're like, yo, we're going to get a slice. I was like, of what? And that's what they meant, is pizza. I'm like, a slice of cake, a slice of pie. Like, what are you talking about? No, we're just going to get a slice. And I'm like, bro, I don't know what that means. And so, like, I did pick up, like, some of their stuff, you know. They don't call mozzarella cheese. They call it mozzarella. I was like, who is mozzarella? Like, somebody that named their daughter mozzarella, because the way y'all be saying stuff is crazy out here. Like, it's wild for no reason. Like, yeah.
Got
so anyway,
you.
Pick some up.
Got you. So, okay, so you going forward after your album drop, you're getting into radio, you're getting into your hosting stuff, you know, live hosting and everything. What was something that you had to, like, did you feel like God was telling you to stay focused on one thing, or was you like he was blessing you to balance different things? Like, are you more like, hey, I can multitask like a mug, or are you like God sometimes be like, Brea, okay, I need you to sit this down so you can focus in on that. You know what I mean?
I think it's a blend. It's like you said, and that was beautifully put. A blend of balance. Like I'm really great at multitasking.
Yeah.
That's just a gift that the Lord has given me. So like
Yeah.
there's been times that I've hosted a show and that I've rapped on the same show. And
Got you.
it's just something, that the Lord does. And like whenever he sends me, like I go. Like I don't put myself, I'm not one of those people that try to like force myself in a room or put myself at a tail. Like I'm not doing none of that. Like I just want to follow God because it's really about the mission for me. And he continues just to put me in both the Christian and the mainstream markets, both the current and in the classic spaces. You know what I mean? Like I remember, I don't know why I'm sharing so many stories. Like, but I did a show with R&B artist, with Kiki Wyatt, right?
Oh wow!
I did a show with her, and like I was the only Christian art. It was her, another artist, Leela James, and myself, and we headlined this show. And they were like, "Yo, we want you to come out and perform." And then the other was like, "Yo, can you come out and sit on this panel? Like this is this whole big thing, right? It's a festival." So I'm like, "Sure." So I think it's like what you said. It's a blend of balance and understanding how God layers gifts, and it's very easy. Like when you're in Christ, it's very easy for you to move in whatever waters because He's giving you the tools to be able to do so.
Got you. That's good. That's good. Man, that's good. So, okay, so going back to music, I noticed that the Vault +1, right? So I noticed that it was like you did an album, and then all of a sudden you were just doing singles, an EP here and there, or mostly singles, and then you finally dropped the Vault +1, kind of like your greatest hits plus spicy. So, like, do you feel like albums are pretty much done, or do you feel like it's just more of a singles market, EP market right now, dropping music?
I think it depends on your audience. I think it depends on your audience and the mission that God has given you. Like I can literally say there's not a person that the Lord does not allow this ministry to reach. And I humbly say that. The fact that you can lead Jewish people to the Lord is insane to me. You feel what I'm saying? The fact that it's every generation. Like I can't even be like, it's only this people group who write, because it's the gospel and it doesn't have a limit. So for me, again, it depends on the audience and it depends on what the Lord wants you to do in that season. And I wouldn't say that albums are done because mainstream artists are killing it. I just think that it's another level of business that people have been conditioned to receive. You feel what I'm saying? And so because of streaming, although streaming is great, it's not really like a profitable thing for a lot of artists unless you're doing like billions, which is, not to bring up Snoop again, but he had that whole viral moment because he's like, if I have 1 billion streams, I should have $1 billion. This is why I have such a respect for that era of music, is because they were making music and actually on the business side making a legitimate profit. Can you imagine selling 1 million copies of one album?
That's
and
crazy.
Getting, what they sell all albums for like $20 or so. You make money off of it rather than putting out a thing and a thing on a song or a single on Spotify or whatever, and you have to have so many streams before you can, like, to me, like, that's crazy. And again, like there's a market for each thing, but it's really, an artist really has to be everything. If you really don't want to get like messed over, I mean, like if you don't want to sign a 360 deal, which most labels are still making artists do.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like if you don't want to do that, like you have to literally wear every single hat, and you have to learn, and you have to figure it out because they will mess you over real quick. So to answer your question, I don't think that albums or EPs or nothing like that is dead. It's just about knowing your market and about following the voice of the Lord. So for me, that's something that God just told me to do. And again, I did it, and it's worked out, and it's sitting right behind me. Like it hit number 9 on the hip hop charts, and that's really incredible. Like you can't pay for stuff like that. I'm an independent artist. Like, you can't pay for stuff like that. You can't pay for people to go and actually buy. Streaming is great, but for people to actually go and buy your project is insane to me. So again, I'm grateful to all of you guys. And there's so many songs from that. I just got in some data. There's so many songs from that, like, that are still top 10 right now. I'm like, how is this top 10 on this chart? How? Like, to me, it's just insane.
Yeah.
It's the hand of God, and I can't take credit for it like that, because, you know, I just can't, you know.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing, Brea. Like, God is really like using you and using stuff that you've done, some stuff that you've done almost a couple years ago, and he's still like making it relevant for people, which is amazing. Like, a lot of people don't get that quote unquote shelf life of stuff off their projects, but you're still getting that love, and you know what I mean, and he's using those songs, so that's the glory of him, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's crazy to think about it.
It's all him, you know. Even with the All In Me, to bring that up, that's still top 10 as well. You feel me? I'm like, how? You know, it's incredible. It's God.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna let you go in a few. I have a question about you and your ladies. You know what I'm saying? How did that come about? Like, Prestavia, you, Mahogany Jones, He Sun Lee, the Me record. Like, how did that come about? And then also the deep message behind Me. I mean, Me, because I feel like we haven't had a song about domestic violence since like Eve. You know what I mean? Love Is Blind kind of vibe. So, how did you guys come up with that, and like even more songs that you guys have been recording?
Yeah, so you know, with that whole thing, it was really crazy. Here's what's crazy. So my mom had a vision. The Lord spoke to her about something, and then that same exact night, he gave me a dream about the exact same thing. So I was the part B and she was the part A. The next day we came together and she shared her vision. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I shared my dream, and it was literally the part A and the part B to each other. From there, we understood the mission. We understood the assignment. I made a call and everybody was like, yep, let's do it. You know what I mean? It wasn't no pushback. It was all love. And then the very next day, around that same time that my mom and I talked about the part A and the part B of that vision, this lady calls and was like, hey, what are you guys doing? And I just was like, what do you mean? What are we doing? She was like, what are you guys doing with ministry right now? And then I, shared with her, and then she said, well, the Lord laid on my heart to give you guys $5,000.
Jesus.
Talk about the Lord. I'm like, what? So
yeah, that's crazy.
And and that had, been something that we didn't even know was a thing. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
So long story short, we came together, we made this song, and we had partnered with a domestic violence organization. And we just really wanted to shine and share a light, because so many people had been going through it even more since the COVID-19 had hit.
Wow.
And they were trapped, and now they were in the cycle because they couldn't leave because everything was shut down. And so now they're literally stuck financially. They're stuck. Wow. Now they have kids. There's nowhere to go. Stuff was shut down. And so they couldn't figure out how to get out of this cycle. So from that, the Lord birthed the concept of the song, and it broke my heart because it literally went up by 50%. Domestic violence had went up by 50% in the Black and brown community. Wow. Since that pandemic happened. And I was like, 50% is insane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Crazy.
So
yeah,
we came together, myself and Jay produced the song, and the Lord just allowed it to do what it's doing. You know what I mean? And I, again, like, it's a God thing. Like, I really hope, whomever is hearing this, like, we're not chasing nothing. We're not trying to be something that we're not. We just want to shine and share the love of Jesus Christ with whoever has an ear to hear. So, that happened. And then we did I Ain't No. And then that, I mean, all of these, I'm going to just be very honest. These songs are still going crazy. They're still going. They're still, like, being streamed like crazy. They're still being listened to and downloaded. Like, it's very crazy to hear people are still engaging with this song. Like, it's just insane, you know, to me. And now we have a new one that's getting ready to come out on July the 18th with myself, He-Son, and Dice Gamble. And this one is totally different. You know what I mean? You know, and myself and Kay produced this one. And it's just phenomenal. I wish I could share. I was at liberty to share some of the things that are already happening with this song, but this is ministry, you know. So y'all be sure to pray for us. If you are a real spirit-filled believer, pray for us, because we're really out here doing ministry. This isn't a money grab thing for us. We love Jesus. We're not afraid of his name. We're not ashamed to share his name, and we're not ashamed to share the light of Christ. We're out here doing that. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And July 18th, we got No Problems is coming out. So yeah.
Wow. And you grabbing, and she's been on a platform before, Dice Gamble. You grabbing I would say a living legend of Christian hip hop with Dice Gamble, and it's like you just love to show love to the OGs. Is that something that's why you like, man, I got to do it. The people got to know.
I think it's a two-way thing. I think that it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I also think that it's a very spiritual thing in the sense of the music that the Lord is allowing me to be able to lead and create, right? When I look at mainstream, and I'll be honest, I've had quite a bit of pushback in my ministry with a lot of these songs and a lot of different things that I'll do. And I realize it's because the enemy is fighting for the sound that the Lord is allowing me to make, right? So when I look at mainstream, it's crazy how it's parallel with what we're doing, right? I can see like artists like Tyler just did a remix with Sean Paul. Sean Paul is an iconic reggae artist, right?
Yeah.
So for this new artist to be paired with the artist that, again, one of the artists that made it possible, is tremendous. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You look at Drake just bringing out Lauryn Hill. I look at it's something that the Lord is trying to do in gospel music. I don't have a formula of me saying, oh, I'm going to do this because I want to make a profit. I don't care about none of that. You know what I mean? I care about, well done, my good and faithful servant. And so when I see the parallels to how the Lord is continuously trying to set up for the kingdom of God to be first to do something, I can't take no credit, but I do know that is breathed by the Spirit of God, and I'm just following his direction.
Yeah. Man, Brea, that's amazing. That's amazing. God has used your ministry to bless so many people. And honestly, not even just bless people, bless artists. Like for you to give opportunity after opportunity to help even the women in this space, the women that honestly been overlooked. Like there's a lot of women in our space that put in that work, especially in that 2010 era, that's been overlooked. And I don't know it's about force, but you are making sure their name is out here. And that's a testament to your ministry, and is a testament to the heart and character God has given you. You know what I mean?
Wow. Bless you, brother. I'm humbled by that. We're all one. We're all one. You know? Without the Old Testament, it's all together.
And I hope that like you still have a humble heart regardless of what's going on with you, like regardless of like I saw that post and I'll post it under you. You was like, yeah, people hating on me and all this other stuff, which is crazy. Another Christian artist hating on another Christian artist, that's crazy. But I just say, like, you know, keep God first, because regardless of what people try to do, they can't do nothing. Every door that God opens is for you. You know, and the ones that are closed, quote unquote, closed by man, God may be like, I don't even want you near that door, regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think sometimes that's what you got to look at it from that perspective. Is like that door closed, and you may think to yourself, like, oh, that could have been a great opportunity. And then you hear about people going through that door, and you go, oh, thank God I didn't go through that door. You know what I mean? So
I remember when I was getting ready to sign with this one major label, and I was so excited about it. You know what I mean? And they came back with 3 different deals, and I ain't gonna hold you, I would have been a multi-millionaire with that deal. If I just would have agreed, to it. But I won't belabor the point. I look at how I would have been intertwined in so much. This is a mainstream label, and so much of the stuff that we're seeing and reading and all of the, podcasts and everybody is talking about, I would have literally been right in the middle of so much of that stuff because it was a great opportunity, but it was also more than likely a lure of the enemy. And had I not been aware to the voice of God and willing to walk away from millions of dollars in order to obey God, my life probably would be completely different. There probably would not even be the level of ministry that I'm free to be able to do. There'd be no prayer. There'd be no fasting. There'd be no teaching. There'd be no music. There'd be no singles, no EPs, no nothing. Had I only focused on what I wanted versus humbling myself to the voice of God and following him. So it's not about a door that people feel, like you said, they can try to close. It's about the protection of God. And, he knows exactly what he's doing, and his blessings, make a person rich and add no sorrow with it. That's in the word of God. We want those blessings. We don't want the ones that you get and then you crash out 15 minutes later because it was from the devil.
Yeah, facts. Before I let you go, talk about Squad. Talk about that. We had Dice on, and Dice talked about Squad. Talk about Squad from being a cast member of it.
Yeah, so shout out again to my sis Dice Gamble, and shout out to Darius as well. I got a call from Dice, and she was like, "Hey, there's this new show getting ready to happen. We want you to be a part of it." And she was telling me about it, and I'm all about Christianity, community, that whole thing. I think is important that we show up for each other. And so I showed up off of the strength and the love that I have for her. And it's a beautiful thing. I love what they're doing. I love what they're working to do to really empower female artists. You know what I mean? And it's like you said, I think a lot of times female artists are intentionally overlooked, especially when you don't allow people to control what you say, control what you do, control, none of that. If you, especially like, and I'm not being shady, especially like if you want to write your own lyrics, you typically get a lot of pushback because people want you to say what they want you to say. They don't want you to say what God is giving you to say, even in Christian music. And it's so crazy. So with this,
that's ridiculous. Wow. Wait, I'm sorry. You said people don't want you to say what God put on your heart, even in Christian music? That's crazy.
Oh, yeah, like it's crazy. Like when you think about the amount of ghostwriting and all of that type stuff, it's really because people want to control the narrative of what is being said. You know what I'm saying? Like we should all distinctly sound different because we're hearing from the Spirit of God and we're out here reaching different people, right? We should, and again, it's like it's an element of control. And when you don't want people to say you can only say this, you can like they want to be the ones to push the button on what goes. They want to be the one, and you don't want to deal with none of that. There's a lot of times that people get overlooked. You know what I'm saying? And that's a part of like what you were talking about. So specifically with what they're doing with this whole show and with Squad, they're really giving females a platform and an opportunity to voice their talents and what God has given them. So like, again, that's something that I'm all for, you know what I mean? And so I'm excited about that. They've been keeping us in the loop on what's going on that. And there's great interest in it. And I'm excited to see what God does with it. I hope it blesses a lot of people.
Yeah. And I hope it does too. Cause I feel like, what's on reality TV right now is so trash, man. And to see women come together for the glory of God and probably have disagreements, because I haven't seen the whole thing, but disagreements, talking and all this other stuff, but at the same time come together, because regardless of my disagreement with you or her with hers, it's still about Jesus. And it's still to show the world that you could disagree about anything, but we still come together for one common goal, and that's for Jesus Christ.
That's hard.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Beautifully said. So yeah, it's gonna be dope.
Got you. Brea, thank you so much for being on Kingdom Ox. Let the people out there know how to. I'm my back. I'm sorry. Are you ready for? I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. Are you ready for your this or that? Brea Miles edition. You ready? You ready for it?
Look, I thought you was gonna let me slide too. I remembered. I was like, oh, he said we gonna do this. Oh, it better not be no top 5 rapper thing. God help me.
No,
okay.
No.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So here we go. Would you want pizza from Pittsburgh or New York?
You is not right. I'm gonna have to rock with my city. I'm gonna have to say Pittsburgh, although New York pizza is the originator. They're so creative. I had a slice of lasagna pizza, changed my life, but I'm gonna have to give it to the home team. I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh.
Got you. Okay. Would you rather have a turkey barbecue sandwich or a barbecue pork sandwich?
Turkey. I don't eat pork.
Okay.
That swine behind me.
Okay. Would you? Okay. So, French fries on the sandwich or on the side?
On the side. You got the dip.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, go vibes or Southern bounce?
Southern bounce.
Okay.
Shout out to my DMV family, but Southern bounce. Period.
Gotcha. Okay. The Vault +1 or True since '91?
The Vault +1.
Wow. Okay.
The Vault +1.
Okay. Hosting for the Culture radio show or hosting a TV show, like a live TV show platform. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. You're terrible. You're terrible. You are. I would probably say, you ain't right. I would probably say TV.
Okay.
Radio's really easy, but TV because you have to be live in action. You know what I mean? So I would probably say TV.
Got you. Okay. I ain't no or me.
I ain't no.
Okay. All right. You got a song you need a verse by tonight, right? And you the song needs to be done by the morning, but you need a verse tonight. And you calling 2 people. Which person's gonna give you the verse first? Mahogany or Hesan?
It'll probably be I get oh, you are so bad. I was trying to figure out how to say it the smoothest way. It's probably going to be Mahogany.
Got you. Okay, Mahogany's gonna get you the verse back.
She's gonna get to first, yeah.
Got you. Passionate stage presence or a heartfelt studio recording session?
Stage.
Oh wow. Okay. My final one, and we're gonna let you out of here. Are you a Christian rapper? Or a rapper who is Christian?
Is y'all grilling or is you barbecuing? Is you finished or is you done? You know what I'm saying? I'm a Christian rapper, point blank period.
Got you. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Miss Brea Miles. Brea Miles, please give all your social media, how people can find you and everything.
Yes, man. All social media. First of all, if you just go to my website, alwaysbrea.com, the word always with an S. My name, Brea, BREA.com. You'll find it all on there. If you want to hit me on IG, TikTok, anywhere, just hit me at Always Brea. If you want to hit me on YouTube, it's Brea Miles. I appreciate the love, y'all.
Got you. Kingdom citizens, thank you for watching. Remember, Kingdom Ops on all social media platforms, and we are out.
Peace.